next week, the nation will mark National Police Week, honoring law enforcement officers who made the ultimate sacrifice for their communities, dying in the line of duty. The week begins with an emotional ceremony at our nation's capital where 3 of Baton Rouge's own will be honored. Kieran Chawla is live in D.C. tonight with full coverage. Good evening, Kieran.
Good evening to you, Elizabeth. It has been a very chilling time to just be here. Excitement, but on the flip side, you know why we're all here. Of course, we are following 3 families from the Baton Rouge area, all of them getting here as well as fellow law enforcement. This is law enforcement from all over the country on motorcycles escorting the families of those who paid the ultimate sacrifice in 2016. Across the United States, 145 law enforcement officers were killed in the line of duty. Louisiana had 9 of those and ranked the 3rd highest state, right behind Texas and California.
It's one that you don't ever want to go to, but it's an event that is truly once in a lifetime, and the experience is amazing.
3 local agencies are among the hundreds of motorcycle officers: Baton Rouge Police, Central Police, and East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office.
It's an honor to be a part of that, to bring these families coming in to remember their fallen family members.
It's a major honor for the Central Police Department to be involved in this, coming up here as guests with East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office Traffic Division.
This entire past week and this weekend are dedicated to the National Police Week in the nation's capital. We had the honor to fly to Washington, D.C. with Jefferson Parish Sheriff Newell Normand, who lost Deputy David Michelle last year.
At his funeral, I said, I wish I had 1,000 David Michelles.
The sheriff says Deputy Michelle's family and entire squad are also in D.C., as are loved ones for 3 of Baton Rouge's fallen heroes: Officer Matthew Gerald, Corporal Montrell Jackson, and Deputy Brad Garafola.
We're here for our fallen officer, Montrell Jackson and Matthew Gerald, Baton Rouge.
Squads become families, sharing every moment together, good or bad. In this case, they all wear these bracelets, carrying Corporal Jackson with them at all times.
Corporal Montrell Jackson was on our squad, and his legacy is going to live on through us. I mean, he's no longer here with us, but he's here with us in spirit. His legacy is going to live through us.
Also making the flight with us, 5-year-old Samuel Sanchez, the little boy who stood in uniform at attention, holding the thin blue line flag for fallen Lieutenant Sean Anderson's funeral. Since then, he's become well known among law enforcement worldwide.
Oh, I'm from London, England. Do you know where that is? It's a long, long, long way away.
And receiving badges and patches from everywhere.
Will you take it from me? Okay, and remember me from this?
With law enforcement just wanting to give him a hug and thanking him because his gesture gives all the men and women in blue reason to keep doing what they do and even get through this weekend.
It is emotional for me for a couple of reasons, coming from when my dad was killed back in 1984. It brings back a lot of memories, a lot of emotions, but it also gives me the foresight to help my guys to get through this type of loss.
Now, in less than an hour, a candlelight vigil with thousands of people right behind me is going to get underway. That's going to obviously include the families of the fallen officers as well as law enforcement from around the country. We're going to bring you that story tonight at 10 o'clock. For now, we are live in Washington, D.C. Kieran Chawla, WAFB 9 News. We'll send it back to you, Elizabeth.
Thanks so much, Kieran. Back here at home, the National Weather on a somber mood tonight with candles burning bright to honor the law enforcement officers who laid down their lives for others, including those who died protecting Baton Rouge. Our Kieran Chawla is in Washington, D.C. for tonight's candlelight vigil.
Good evening to you from Washington, D.C. We have just wrapped up that candlelight vigil that honored all the men and women across the United States who paid the ultimate sacrifice. Obviously, from Louisiana, we had several from the Baton Rouge area, 3 specifically. They read each state's number. They read the number of officers from each specific state. Here's Louisiana.
From the state of Louisiana, Matthew Lane Gerald, Montrell Jackson, Bradford Allen Garafola Sr., Shannon Matthew Brown, David F. Mitchell Jr.
The families of the fallen officers from Matthew Gerald's family to Montrell Jackson's family, as well as Deputy Brad Garofolo's family, all lit candles, including hundreds of people out here as well, from families to squad members, as well as several others. Obviously, little 5-year-old Samuel Sanchez is here as well. He too lit candles in honor of the fallen officers. We also spoke to Corporal Ivory Taylor, who was with Corporal Montrell Jackson's squad. When you lit that candle, what did that mean to you?
That basically meant to me, his flame is gonna burn on forever in me, and all his other brothers here on the department. That's how I feel about that.
I did talk to the wives after the ceremony. They all say that they are thankful that their husbands are being honored in such a way, but obviously this does take an emotional toll on all of them. Tonight we are in Washington, D.C. Kieran Chawla, WAFB 9 News. We'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Karen. Jeff Morrow is here with your first. Will take on a heavy meeting for many families here in Baton Rouge as several of our own fallen heroes are honored and remembered. Tonight, they describe the emotions of seeing their loved ones added to the police memorial at our nation's capital. Kieran Chawla reports from D.C.
It's a place of honor. A place where all these names on this wall are recognized and remembered as you look around with the notes and the patches and the flowers and the wreaths. It's just a very emotional place.
As the water flows in the fountain,
it's hard. It's really hard, but I mean, I do everything. I do it for him.
So does heartache.
You know they're here. You know they're looking down upon us. You kind of want to say you're sorry because they sacrifice so much for us.
It's sad to see the names on this wall, although many officers they have lost a life to protect us.
So does pain. So do memories of those taken away.
Such love for Matt and all the fallen officers.
I draw in the paper because all of the names of the fallen officers who got shot.
I'm glad that my son is here to see what the many names that are on the wall. That is not only few that we have lost in Baton Rouge, but it's all over the United States. It shouldn't be this many.
Put all daddy's stuff right here.
Hundreds, if not thousands, of names are in these walls at the National Police Memorial in honor of all the men and women who have died in the line of duty. As a keepsake, families can color over each name with their officer's name visible through the blue.
Having to let your kids color their dad's name on a wall was kind of tough.
It's overwhelming to see all officers on that wall. So many sacrifices made. So many others that are in the same position we're in.
Through the heartache, there are miracles, such as baby buttons and signs their loved ones may be gone, but they will never be forgotten by family, friends, or even history.
It's very, very emotional here right now.
What they're doing is it's a great thing for the kids and her. I know they miss him quite a bit.
In Washington, D.C., with photojournalist Robert Hollins, Kieran Chawla, WAFB 9 News.
Thanks, Kieran. A very emotional report. Dave McNamara
is following along with them and is live in Washington, D.C. tonight for us. Kieran.
Good evening to you, Greg, from Washington, D.C. Unfortunately, this was the first time for these families here to Washington, D.C., as well as Sheriff Sid Gotro. He has not lost a deputy in the line of duty. Now, this service honored hundreds of fallen men. Also, President Donald Trump was the keynote speaker, saying that it is time to work with our cops, not against them. Bagpipes led the long line of fallen law enforcement from just last year. Among those here to pay tribute, 3 women from Baton Rouge whose husbands were ambushed and killed in 2016. Deputy Brad Garofolo, Officer Matthew Gerald, and Corporal Montrell Jackson. Their names have been added to those etched along the National Police Memorial Wall, now forever a part of history. Today, 394 fallen officers who died in the United States were honored for their sacrifice, with President Donald Trump serving as the keynote speaker.
Your sadness is left and felt by all of us. Every drop of blood spilled from our heroes in blue is a wound inflicted upon the whole country. And every heartache known by your families in law enforcement is a sorrow shared by the entire family of the American nation.
The grounds of the United States Capitol were packed with thousands of fellow officers and blue supporters. President Trump recognized the ambush in Baton Rouge last year.
More officers were slain last year in ambushes than in any year in more than 2 decades, including, and that's so incredible to even have to be speaking about this, the beloved officers killed in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in yet another murderous attack of law enforcement.
It's comforting to know that the president recognizes Baton Rouge and Dallas and all the other places that have suffered such great losses.
Louisiana, Brown. The names of the fallen officers were read by each state. Louisiana had the 3rd highest number of fallen officers in 2016.
Bradford A. Garofalo, Sr.
As the names were read,
Matthew L. Jerome.
The fallen officers' squads saluted to their fallen comrades.
Montrell L. Jackson.
Among them, East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff Sid Gotro.
Just to be here has just touched my heart, it's touched my soul, and to know just what these men and women died for, and to have them respected in this way and have their families honored this way is beyond words.
And Baton Rouge Police Chief Carl Dabney, who lost his own police officer dad in the line of duty years ago.
Hopefully, today's ceremonies bring some closure to the mourning and grieving process and allows them to move forward knowing that their heroes were laid to rest with honor, pride that they deserve.
Also among that crowd saluting all of Louisiana's fallen officers, Samuel Sanchez, who made the trip from Baton Rouge to D.C. with his parents.
I feel sorry about all of the fallen officers that got shot.
And it's kids like Samuel that the president spoke to, saying all officers need to be better equipped to do their jobs and then go home safely to their families.
And someday, many of the young children you are protecting will decide that they too want to be police officers, that they too want to be sheriffs.
Along with the 145 officers who were slain last year, this ceremony also honored the more than 200 people who died in relation to the 9/11 tragedy, such as cancer or any injuries related to that. Now tonight, the White House will be lit up in blue as in honor of National Peace Officers Memorial Day. Tonight we are live in Washington, D.C. Karen Chawla, WAFB 9 News. Greg?
Thank you very much, Karen Chawla.